After adopting an unknown baby, a couple discovers too late that the child is not just a normal human, but the bearer of frightening powers, the child of something evil. Today we're going to recap the story of the 2019 movie, Brightburn. During the evening, a happy couple enjoys a romantic moment, until Tori feels a strange sensation and is surprised by something that shakes the house. Outside, a mysterious source emits an intense red glow. After that, the couple adopt a baby who brings joy to the family. After 10 years, Brandon Breyer plays hide and seek with his mother, who is lured by a whistle into the barn. During the chase, Tori is startled when her son suddenly emerges from a mountain of hay. They then meet Kyle, the boy's father, who scolds him for playing in the shed, as he considers it a dangerous place. At school, Brandon surprises his teacher by demonstrating advanced knowledge in class. However, his classmates envy him for this and constantly make fun of him. After making sure her son is sound asleep, Tori decides to make paintings on a canvas. At the same time, she hears strange voices on the radio, and a red light shines through the gaps in the barn. At the same moment, the boy starts to struggle, waking up with red eyes. Suddenly, he gets up from his bed and unconsciously throws himself out of the window, making a frightening noise as he falls to the ground. Her mother quickly goes outside and finds the swing in the park moving on its own. She ends up going back into the house, but a dark figure catches her eye, sending her back into the darkness of the yard. While chasing the unknown entity, Tori calls out for her son. She is then taken to the mysterious barn. Suddenly, she sees the boy violently attacking a door on the floor. When the woman approaches him, Brandon freezes, but then attacks his mother. Even so, he wakes up from his madness without understanding how he ended up there. As Tori puts her son back to sleep, something moves inside the shed. The other day, Brandon tries to mow the lawn after a request from his father. However, the lawnmower doesn't work properly. After getting angry, the boy uses tremendous force, causing the device to fly an absurd distance away. As he approaches the device, he hears voices in his head encouraging him to put his hand on the sharp propeller. The boy slowly brings his hand closer, until he touches the device, but it stops working and his skin remains unscratched. During the evening, the family celebrates Brandon's birthday in a diner. After dinner, Uncle Noah gives his nephew a rifle as a birthday present, but Kyle forbids him to accept the gift because he's still a child. However, the birthday boy insists on keeping the gun, banging it hard on the table. At the same moment, the televisions around the room turn off, and the boy's father pulls him by the arm, but he holds onto the chair until his mother convinces him to obey his family. During breakfast, Kyle notices that his son is chewing on a fork non-stop. When he removes the object from the boy's mouth, he realizes that the fork has been completely destroyed. Meanwhile, Tori finds magazines with adult content in the boys' room. However, the couple believes that this is normal for teenagers. Soon after, they come across books on the anatomy of the human body and bizarre surgical images. The other day, during a family camping trip, Kyle tries to talk to his son about becoming a man. After everyone has fallen asleep, Mrs. Breyer wakes up in the middle of the night looking for the boy, who has suddenly disappeared. At the same time, a girl called Caitlin wakes up in her bedroom after being startled by her computer, which has suddenly started playing music. After unplugging the device, she is surprised to realize that it has started making the same sound again. Looking out of the window, the girl believes there is someone in the darkness. Soon after, she is startled when her mother enters the room worried. Checking outside the room, Erica claims that there is no one there. At the same moment, Caitlin admits that the person she saw outside was Brandon. Meanwhile, the Breyers search the woods for their son, who suddenly appears behind his mother and claims he was in the bathroom. The next day, the boy draws bizarre pictures on a sheet of paper while he waits for Tori. What's more, some of the scribbles are symbols involving his name in a reddish color. When he realizes that his mother is approaching, the boy tries to hide his art. Later, Kyle hears a movement in the barn and goes to it with his rifle. Believing it to be a wolf, the man is surprised to find his son watching the chickens in a bizarre way. In the early hours of the morning, a loud noise in the shed draws the attention of Mr. Breyer, who rushes over to check it out. After witnessing a horrifying scene, he calls his wife to show her that all the chickens have been destroyed. Soon afterwards, Kyle confesses that he saw his son scaring the chickens earlier, so he believes that the boy was responsible for the crime. Besides, a wolf wouldn't be able to break down a door. Even so, Tori continues to believe that her little boy wouldn't do anything bad. The other day, during a practical lesson, the children take part in a game of trust, in which Brandon is pushed from side to side in a circle of students, while they hold him. However, Caitlin ends up moving out of the way, causing the boy to hit his head hard on the floor. The teacher then demands that she help him up. Against her will, she extends her hand to her classmate, that the boy squeezes it so hard that he crushes the girl's hand, breaking several bones. After the incident, the school principal decides that Brandon will only be suspended for 2 days, but Erica demands that he be arrested for the damage he caused to her daughter. During the night, the woman admits to her husband that she found the boy in the barn trying to open the cellar door, where they are hiding something. In addition, Kyle wonders why his son has never bled in his life. Later, Tori looks for information about the meteor crash in Brightburn, which took place 10 years ago. At the same time, the sleepwalker wakes up and follows the dark voices to the barn. At the same moment, his mother notices the movement and rushes into the shed, where she finds the boy floating in the air and speaking strange words. When the woman approaches, Brandon plummets into the basement and cuts his hand during the fall, bleeding for the first time in his life. He then questions his mother about his origin and asks about the metal object hidden in that place. Tori then admits that he wasn't adopted from an orphanage, but arrived at the farm via a metal capsule that fell from the sky. Even after learning the truth, the boy gets angry and goes back into the house, destroying everything in front of him. As he walks through the rainy night, the boy manages to decipher the words in his head, which mean, "Take over the world." He then shoots a powerful laser beam through his eyes. Later, Caitlin is startled when Brandon suddenly appears in her room, saying that she is the only one who really knows him. He also brings her flowers and warns her that he'll make sure the girl's mother doesn't find out about their meeting. While at work, Erica comes across bizarre symbols drawn on the windows of the cafeteria. Suddenly, the light bulbs in the place start flashing, which makes the woman approach with curiosity. However, the equipment suddenly explodes and the shards of glass hit her directly in the eye, causing a horrible injury and blurring her vision. Suddenly, a masked boy appears in front of her and begins to chase her. The waitress attacks him with a baseball bat, but misses and hides in a cold room. Even after Erica locks the metal door, her pursuer easily destroys the barrier using his heat vision. After that, he goes after the woman, who instantly realizes that a boy is about to end her life. The next day, Brandon wakes up and admits to his parents that he accepts the whole story of his origin. Meanwhile, at the crime scene where Erica mysteriously disappeared, the sheriff discovers symbols drawn on the window, which are similar to 2 letters, B. At school, the boy talks to his Aunt Marilee, who is also the school psychologist. He admits that he thinks he's superior and that his real family isn't from a mediocre place like that. When she gets home, Tori looks for Brandon, who doesn't answer her calls. After she enters the bathroom, the lights begin to flicker and her masked son appears outside, but she doesn't even notice his evil presence. At the same time, Marilee hears an alarm indicating movement in her backyard. When she opens the door, she is confronted by her nephew, who begs her not to tell the sheriff about him, threatening the woman, who doesn't pay much attention to his request. After the boy leaves the house, the alarm continues to sound, prompting the psychologist to go out into the yard to check, leaving the door open after she leaves. When she returns home, she sends a text message to her husband telling him that she will turn off her cell phone to go to sleep. After Marilee has gone to bed, her nephew appears at the bedroom door, approaching cautiously. However, Noah arrives and finds his wife sleeping peacefully. While the man is brushing his teeth, the masked boy hides in the bathroom, causing a figure that frightens his uncle. Noah then comes across the young Briar in the closet wearing a bizarre mask. He quickly scolds the boy and takes him to his car. However, when he finds out that the guy is going to tell his parents everything, Brandon puts his mask back on and surprises his uncle by brutally throwing him against the garage door. At the same moment, the man gets into the vehicle to flee the scene. During the journey, the evil boy slams the car door, causing the engine to shut down shortly afterwards. As Noah tries to start the car, the headlights come on and Brandon appears in front of him. Suddenly, the boy reappears floating even closer to the car, which is now lifting off the ground as well. After leaving his uncle in a vulnerable position against the asphalt, the boy uses his powers to throw the vehicle towards the ground, hitting the guy in a fatal accident. After waking up extremely injured, Noah observes his nephew drawing symbols on the asphalt after touching his wounds. Afterwards, Brandon comes home without a shirt on, claiming to his parents that he was playing ball. However, the adults don't believe the boy's words. During the night, Kyle remembers the day his son arrived. When he wakes up, he realizes that there is a forest behind the door. What's more, Tori isn't beside him in bed. As he walks through the woods, he finds his wife next to the alien capsule holding a baby. As soon as she turns to him, a red liquid begins to drip from the child in his wife's eyes. However, it was only a dream and the man wakes up to an urgent phone call. Soon after, Mr. and Mrs. Briar arrive at the hospital, where Marilee delivers the terrible news that Noah has been found disfigured on the road. In addition, the woman tells them that Brandon came to her house a few minutes before the accident. The next day, Tori tells her son that his uncle lost his life last night, but the boy is indifferent and isn't saddened by the information. Kyle accuses him of lying to his family, so the boy quickly tries to escape. However, his father reprimands him, but Brandon strikes him and throws the man against a cupboard with force, causing the piece of furniture to break. Still, he goes up to the bedroom and looks for the t-shirt his son hid, finding it stained with blood. At the same moment, the boy comes up behind him, but the guy manages to disguise his discovery, saying that he understands his son's feelings. Kyle quickly goes to his wife claiming that Brandon is responsible for his uncle's accident, but she faithfully believes that her boy is innocent. At the police station, the sheriff realizes that the same symbol seen on the windows of the diner is drawn on the highway where Noah lost his life. Meanwhile, Kyle decides to take his son on an all-boys trip in order to strengthen his bond with the boy. Soon afterwards, the deputy goes to the Breyer family home, claiming to Tori that the marks found at the crime scenes resemble her son's initials, but she denies the accusations. When the policeman leaves the scene, the woman goes to her son's room and finds the famous symbol drawn in a notebook several times. At the same time, during the hunt, Kyle points his gun at the boy with his back to him. While Tori discovers even more bizarre doodles, such as the gruesome mask, the drawing of the waitress next to an injured eye, as well as Noah's vehicle in an accident, followed by his disfigured face after the fatality. In addition, there is a sketch of the evil boy destroying the earth with his heat vision, and another of him being worshipped by dozens of skulls. At the same time, Kyle fires the gun at his son, who is unmoved and watches in disbelief. Just as the man is about to launch his next attack, his target suddenly disappears. The father runs desperately, but is surprised by Brandon, who appears in front of him and throws him to the ground. His father then pleads for mercy, but the boy isn't shaken and uses his laser sight to hit him full in the face. At the same moment, Tori calls her husband claiming to have discovered the whole truth, but realizes that she is actually talking to her son. The boy then reveals that he's ended Kyle's life and, what's more, he's already home to sort things out with his mother. Brandon quickly appears outside the house and starts destroying everything around him, frightening the woman, who runs in despair at the situation. When she finds shelter under a table, she makes a call to the emergency services, but the earthquakes interfere with the call. However, the sheriff is attentive to calls from the Breyer residence, so he discovers that there is an emergency and arrives at the farm quickly. Meanwhile, Tori hides from her son who goes through the rooms of the house destroying the walls, which makes the woman look for the police in a furtive and desperate way. When she reaches the door where the deputy is, the man is attacked by the evil creature. The other policewoman then calls for reinforcements and suggests that Mrs. Breyer hide quickly. As she walks through the corridors, the cop comes across the image of the boy outside. Suddenly, the figure disappears, and Tori hears the desperate cries of the officer, who falls beside her, completely wounded. The woman realizes that her son is looking for her as he floats around the house, which makes her cover her mouth because of the noise it can make in the face of extreme fear. Tori then realizes that the boy has moved away, so she tries to come out of hiding. At the same moment, Brandon hears the noise and quickly approaches, but finds no one there. In fact, the woman uses the window to jump out of the house. During the jump, she cuts her hand on a piece of metal, which reminds her that the debris in the barn could hurt her son. Tori rushes to the scene while Brandon chases her. When she arrives at the shed, Mrs. Breyer finds Erica's body displayed on the wall in a bizarre way. After pulling herself together, the woman picks up a piece of metal to use as a blade. She then calls out to her son, who is waiting for her in the darkness of the barn. When he meets his mother, the boy shows that he is still the same child, so Tori approaches him and hugs him. However, just as she is about to use her blade to strike the boy, he easily blocks the attack and grabs the woman, crossing the roof of the barn with her in his arms. As the boy flies to an extreme height, his mother is extremely injured. Suddenly, he releases her from his arms and sees an airplane approaching. The other day, the news reports that an aircraft crashed on the Breyer farm, eliminating dozens of people instantly, and the only survivor was a boy called Brandon. Finally, the evil boy decided to destroy the cities and draw his symbol all over the world. So what did you think of this movie? Leave it in the comments below. And if you liked the video, like and subscribe for more movie recaps. See you next time.